Hello, everyone. It's great to meet all of you again in this week live session. My name is Edward Boamah, and I'm based in Ghana, and I work with Digital Health Africa as the technical manager. And today, for the next 30 to 45 minutes, hopefully by 30 minutes, I will be taking you through some of the additional updates that we've actually added on to the sandbox for our users, for them to be able to, for it to be able to make things also flexible for them. And today's session, what we'll actually be talking about will be in relation
Edward, we lost you.
sorry, I lost internet for a while, but I'm back. So I'll
Yes.
take you through that process on how to connect to the Digital Earth Africa platform through your Google Earth engine for you to be able to work with it. Everything that I'll be taking you through has already been documented, and let me share the link with you all. And the step-by-step process is actually there for you to also go through it and work it out at your side. So I'll be taking you through this step for you to see how you go about it. Then after going through that, you will also see how you use the sandbox to connect in after going through the configurations. So not wasting much time. Let me share my screen. Okay. Please can you see my screen? Okay. So before we're able to connect the Digital Earth Africa sandbox to the Google Drive, we have to set up some credentials at Google Drive end so that Google can give us the permission for us to transfer files from another server, which is not on Google Cloud Services. And through that, we'll be able to connect the data, the sandbox, and our Google Drive. What you actually be using here will be the service account. So the service accounts actually help us to connect the two different servers without actually going through a lot of authentication processes. But once you set it up, you'll be able to get that connection between the two particular notebooks. Then after everything is set, you come to the frequently used code. Then there is a function here integrating with Google Drive. You come and learn more about this function and how it will work. So the first thing is to go to the Google Cloud Services. The Google Cloud Service account is where we are going to use to um, set up our, to make sure that we get all the necessary credentials for us to be able to connect the two without going through a lot of processing. So the link that I shared with you, if you go to the first step, there's a link called the Google Cloud Services there. Let me copy it and paste it in the chat. Once you click on that particular Google Cloud Services, it will take you to what you are seeing on my screen right now. And once it takes you there, you come to the project section, which is this side. You drop it down, then this dialog will open for you. And from here, you can click on create new project. So for this tutorial, you are going to create a new project by clicking on this new project. And once you click on the new project, we wait a while, then the project will open for us. So you see the project name will show up here, then the organization. We don't necessarily have to worry ourselves with the organization. So what you need to do is go to the project here, my project here, and give it a name. So because I'm doing this during the live session, I'll just type live session project. Or you can pick any name, or you can use the default name that you were using. So you create the name here, and after that you click on create. So once you click on create, the project that you created will show up here. So once I click on the drop down, you see that the project that I just created, the live session project that I just created is what is here. But it's not the one that is active. For if yours is your first time, you only see that project there. But because I have created 2 different projects, I have to select on this one to make it active. So I click on the live session, and from the top left, you actually see that the project that we created is now showing up here. So from this session, right now that we've created the project, the next step is to go and create our service account, which actually makes it very easier for us. So you move to the top left, the 3 navigation menu we have here, you click on it. Then you look for the APIs and services. Then under the API and services, you go for the credentials. So this is what you'll be checking here. So you click on the credentials. Once we click on the credentials, it will load up for us. Let me refresh my screen. Okay. Uh, uh, so once you click on the credentials, let's wait a minute. Yeah, it's loading for me. Uh, it will help us create the credentials, and at that credential session, what we are going to choose will be the service account. As previously I said, creating a service account makes it much more easier for one to connect to your Google Drive without going through a lot of processes, because it actually makes it easier for us to go there. So that's why we are using the service account. There are a lot of credentials available, but because you want it to be easier for our users, using the service account is much more simpler than the others. So right now, so I went to the navigation button, API and services, and I chose the credentials. And this page will open for us. The one that you're after is the service account. So this is what you do. You click on the create credentials, then you click on the service account. Once you click on the service account, a dialog will pop up for us, which would make it, which will also provide a service account name, service account ID. But what we actually interested here will be the service account name, which we have to provide so that it will be easier for us to recognize the service account that we are using. One can create more credit, one can create, I think, at least 5 service accounts. Maybe above that, you have to pay, or maybe on a commercial one. But as it stands now, you only need 1 service account. So you don't necessarily have to create more of it, because you just want to make sure that you'll be able to connect our data to the sandbox for one to be able to use it. So once the service account comes here, we are going to provide the name. We can still use the name live session so that it's easy for us to recognize it. If you have a description, you can put it there. So this account is for connecting to the the Africa. So you can make that one. Then after that, you go to create and continue. Once you come to the, you go to the create and continue, the row aspect is also very important for us. So for the row aspect, what you do is you come to the select row, you choose the basic, then you choose the owner. Because it's for us, this is what we want to add as the row for it. Then after that, we go to continue. Then once it's created for us, you just click on done. The user row and the service account and those ones, we leave it as default as it is. Then we click on done. So once we click on done, it will bring us to the default page that we were. At this session, what to do is this service account email, you copy it. But before we do that, we have to go and create a key for it. So you can you can open a notepad somewhere. So let me open a notepad somewhere. Let me open a notepad. And from the notepad, I'll copy the service account email, which is this one. It's very, very important. Then I'll go to, once I create it, the next step is to generate the JSON key, and I'll generate it through this button. You have to do all these things as Google and on the Google server to make sure that you give your email access for another server to be able to have access to it. So once we open this side, the next thing is to go to the add keys. So you click on that button, then you go to the add keys. Then at the add key section, you want to generate a JSON file. You want to generate a JSON file. So you click on the add key, then you click on create a new JSON file. We prefer a JSON format. So you click on the JSON, then you click on create. Once you click on create, the JSON will be generated for you. Then a pop-up will come. Then you save this JSON file at a place where you can easily find it. So let me save it on my desktop. So I'll save it here. So the JSON file will be downloaded for me. Right now that we've gotten our JSON file and the API and the email address, the service account email address. The next thing is for us to enable the Google API. So to enable the Google API, there's a link that was provided in the tutorials. Once you click on the link, it will send you to the Google Drive area for your email. Then you would have to enable it from them. You have to enable it from them. So as you can see, my Google Drive API is not enabled. So I will enable my Google Drive API from here by clicking on enable. Then this API will enable for me. Once the API enable is done, the next step is to go to your Google Drive. So visit your Google Drive and create a folder because you don't want the files that you want to transfer, you don't want it to land anywhere. So you create a folder. So I'll go to my drive, then I'll go to new, then I'll go to new folder. And once the folder comes up, I'll give it a name. So let me give it a name, live session folder. Then I'll click on create. So once the live session folder comes in, I'll double click it. Then I will copy this link, this ID here from it. Then I will also save it somewhere in my notepad. I also copy this ID, then I also save it somewhere in my notepad from it. Remember, you initially copied this email too. So I have to copy this email here. Then the folder link that I copied, I have to share it. So I will share the folder with the email that I use in it. So I'll share it with this person. So I'll share it here. Then I will maybe give it access. So I'll give it access to be an editor. Then after that, we click on send. So in the notebook, we have this one which we use to share and this ID. And remember, you've already downloaded the JSON file. Now let's go back to our sandbox. So right now that everything is done from Google's end, you also have to come to the sandbox to just make sure that everything is saved here. So what you do is you go to the supplementary data file folder. Supplementary data folder. Then within the supplementary data folder, look for a folder called Drive Credentials. You double click on it. I think my internet is very slow this afternoon. But look for the folder called Drive Credentials. And once the Drive Credentials come, remember that we downloaded the JSON somewhere on the desktop. So you are going to load that JSON, which is this one. The JSON file, we upload it here into the sandbox. Then please change this long name to credentials. You can easily do it by right-clicking in the sandbox and changing the name to credential. So you change the name to credential.json. Once you import your JSON, you do that. Then you create another file here. The file that you create here, you call it Google Drive _ID. So the Google Drive _ID was this link that you created. So this is the Google Drive ID that you created. So that's the ID that you are talking about. And we save it in the notebook. So I'll go and copy it from the notebook. And when I open the test, I'll put it here. Then I'll save it. So you create it and you put it there. And this ends with the configurations. So once you are done with this step, you are done with the configuration. And now you can go and use the function to be able to upload things to your Google Drive wherever you are. So if you want to upload a notebook, if you want to upload a TIFF file, whatever you want to do, if you want the things to be communicated, you can now come to the Google Drive and come and use this function for it. So as you do for the normal step, every notebook should provide the background, the description, and the getting started information. As I said, all of these steps have been documented here, which I've put it in the chat. If you go there, you will see all the documentation steps, which makes it easier. So once you are here and once you have connected everything here, the first step that you want to do is to run this first step. So there are two functions here. We have the list Google Drive and we also have the upload to Google Drive function. So in the list Google Drive, let us know what is inside the Google Drive folder. Then the upload is the one that actually uploads to the notebook. So what you do is, first of all, you're going to run the first step. And once you've run, it has been imported. Then the next step is to list what is there to see whether the tenant has been able to get our email. Okay, so it's telling us that there's no file called supplementary data. Okay, so it's looking for credentials. So I made a mistake in the spellings of the credential. It's supposed to be credentials with S, but I think I did it without S. So it just tells us where the error is. So you just go there, go to the credentials again. Then we will change. I spelled it credential without the S, but I was looking for a credential with S. So I just do this. I make the changes. Let's wait for it to refresh. Okay, so right now that is done. We will rerun it again and let's see what happened. So as you can see, when I click list the J drive, you notice that it has listed this file for me. Remember, we created the live session folder. So the next step, let's try and see if you will be able to push this particular notebook to the Google Drive. So I'll click on it. Then, depending on your internet bandwidth, it is very fast. So it says files uploaded successfully. So now let's Google Drive and see whether it's there. Voila. As you can see, here is the notebook. So anything that you want to push, right now that you set the parameter, anything that you want to push, just provide the path here, then it will push it for you. So let's assume I want to push another file. Let me go to the real world example. I want to push this zip file here. So what I'll do is I'll provide a path. To provide a path, because the integrating folder is in another folder, I'll use the double dot to come outside of that folder. Then I'll type the real world examples. Then I'll specify the notebook. There are a lot of ways to do it. I'll just copy everything in the notebook, then I'll paste it here. So once I paste it there, I can click on the upload. Let me see. Then automatically it will push it to the area. So as you can see, it's very seamless, it's very sharp. Once it's done, it has moved it there. And it's a function, so you don't necessarily have to be within this notebook. So if there is this notebook that I'm working in, then I notice that the final result that I need, I have to send it to Google Drive. All that I'll do is I'll copy this function here. Then once the notebook open it, I will import the function. Once you import it, you don't have to do it. You have to call the function and specify the path, then automatically to push it to the notebook for you, to push it to the Google Drive for you. So these are an additional thing that we've added to the sandbox for one to be able to push everything that he or she is working in within the sandbox to the Google Drive and use it without necessarily, you don't necessarily have to download it and upload it. Right now from the sandbox, you can easily do this transfer easily to anywhere that you want to work with. And it makes it easier. So you want to make it easier for our users to be able to work with it. And right now that this function is available, we'll be happy for you to also test it out, try it with various forms and see how it can actually help improve your work. So thank you very much.